Welcome everyone, this is Serf. This is a video about the Stoneworks world building Minecraft server. I've got a heck of a video for you. I gotta tell you, I just finished editing it, setting it up. I realized I didn't have an intro. I'm recording this intro right now. At the very end, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, do everything you're supposed to do. And let's dive right on in. Old Plagatea, reigning from December 26th of 2020 to February 28th, 2021, once the absolute head of the first major power to exist on Plagos. But then, how did it end up like this? Our story begins with me, your boy, Surfboard, on March 12th of 2021. While mapping the land of Plagos, I discover this absolute monstrosity of a structure just out in the middle of what's supposed to be a flower forest. I press F3, it's a flower forest. I look around, nothing but sand. It's absolutely baffling. However, on the western side of all of this huge mountain of sand, I do find a path, a small path, too wide, made out of stone slabs. And from that, I can see there's either a road here that goes through here or something even bigger. And this road ends up leading to a settlement called Chroniclers, which I'm not sure if they're still in operation or they're still abandoned. It was abandoned when I was doing this stuff in March, but I operate in Eldham now, but that's a tangent. And so back to the road at Gungum. I decide that would be a good place to start digging and see where this whole thing goes. So I go with Curly Fries 64. He is the leader at this time of a nation called Aranova, soon to be part of New Plagatea. And I am in this nation, Aranova, and we find this place. Well, I find this place, I tell him about it, and I take him back here, and he's very fascinated as well. And what we do is we decide to start digging and see what we can't find. So we dig for about a day and a night in the real world, so like a week and a half, maybe Minecraft time. And so I decide I'm gonna take a break and I'm going to look, I'm gonna pour through the wikis and see what I can't find about this whole thing. And as it turns out, this settlement, Gungum, was the first capital city of old Plagatea, and that is big because during this time, old Plagatea is dead and gone. New Plagatea is not yet formed. We're all just a bunch of small, minor powers. We're not city-states exactly, but we're not sort of multi-settlement, sprawling, large, powerful nations either. At this time, Plagos is a backwater. Absolute, complete. Nobody goes there. Nobody travels there. Barely any roads, barely any infrastructure. You get the picture. But what Plagos did have was a sort of pan-Pelagos United Nations structure. This was known as the UNP, the United Nations of Plagos. And that's where I was posting all of my sort of stuff to to arouse attention from all the other people. And what deepens this mystery even further, that published on February 28th, 2021, the last day that old Plagatea was seen on the map, within the Chronicles of Rathnir it is written, Gungum was deleted. Not Plagatea, Gungum. Those three words only on the Chronicles of Rathnir sort of log. No context, nothing. No war report, no declaration. It was just gone, completely disappeared until I found it weeks and weeks later. So we find this place, I find this place, and I tell everyone about it, and it becomes news because everyone's sort of interested in old Plagatea. A lot of these players are new players. They walk around the land seeing ruins, And now somebody finds this big old thing completely covered in sand. Nobody knows why, nobody knows how. It's a mystery. And so people start really getting involved and asking for updates and showing up and volunteering a little bit. Then their inventories get filled with sand. They leave. They come back. All this whole thing. So we're working. We're just following this trail to see where it leads, and then we hit our first breakthrough. We find this house. We assume it's a house at the time, and it's a small building. But we break inside. There's sand even like flooding the inside of the house. That's how we started to get the picture of this. This either might have been like a massive griefing operation, or it was done through world edit and admin commands. And that the difference between the two will be later in the video when we finally figure out which one it was. And but we break into the house. We get into the house. There's a chest in the house. We open the chest. It's just filled with boats. This thing was a boat house. We keep clearing it. We find a big old light post, and lining the house and the southern side of the light post, there are these half slabs, and those go down 3 or 4 blocks. And this is how we discover that we're looking at a canal. We find a canal, we find a boathouse. Things are starting to come together. This was a settlement. People lived here. We unearth a little more. We find a big house buried into the mountain with all of the loot still inside. Whoever lived here, whoever was the owner of this house when this tragedy fell upon the settlement, everything was left completely preserved, completely intact, unlooted. A little bit of a treat for us. Now the path starts branching in two directions. One back the way we came, except uphill. It goes up the mountain that we've hit in our excavations. The other one keeps going the way we have been excavating the whole time. We find a carrot farm there, down that direction. We continue up, because that's really the only place left. And this is where we hit one of the first of two major discoveries. The first of which is this massive quartz meeting room. Now, with the discovery in hand that this was the first capital of Plagatea, it's pretty much can be sussed out that this was the sort of official meeting place, even despite after the capital being moved, of where all of the different member states of Plagatea, all the minor nobles and major nobles of that nation, this is where they would all come together and discuss matters of state and foreign treaties whenever need be. And that's sort of the discovery of this meeting room, me taking screenshots and publishing them publicly, is when this really starts taking off and we get our first permanent volunteers. Now with the semi-permanent volunteers, the working team is myself, sometimes Curly Fries, Thy Futo, Prong Hat 11, and Josseps, filtering in and out sometimes. With my crew in tow, we reached the other side of the meeting room. The meeting room ended up making a sort of perfect half circle as a dome, sort of around the top, but not a sort of complete dome. It almost looked like a rib cage, the way it was sort of set up. It was barred, I guess you could say, and there were gaps throughout. There are pictures. You will see pictures, of course. There will be pictures on screen. And on the other side of the meeting room, there's more path, and we keep following the path. We get to a tunnel. We burrow through the tunnel. We find another portal. That's a cool find. It that says there's a sense of infrastructure, international infrastructure. People are using the Nether to get there. It's another context clue on how sort of popular that place used to be in its day. But here is where we get to the second major discovery of the dig. The Temple of Selene. Sorry, Asharians, if you're listening. Any past, potential, future Asharians? But there, the temple of that particular goddess, and a floating water orb on top of the whole thing, the crown jewel of the settlement. And we are absolutely blown away. And here is sort of how we figure out that this place was taken out through the use of sort of world edit admin commands, replacing air with sand, because this sort of capital complex wouldn't be able to exist without the use of console commands, particularly that floating orb of just pure water. Did I mention it was just water? You can see it in the screenshots there, but I don't know if I just didn't know if I had mentioned it prior. Just this floating orb of water, and you can't do that without console commands. Now, below this giant orb of floating water, there are a lot of signs. One called the Sphere of Saline, and the other one on the other side is a detailed ritual and how to perform it. I will read both of them to you, starting with the Sphere of Saline. Was founded by Chakorva after he fled a village in Asharian. As the mayor tried to kill him, he found a hill on a river, which above it glowed a sphere of water. The land around was covered in flowers, and the ones on the enchanted hill were white with quartz. So now we mined the quartz forest to honor the gods and sacrifice to Saline and Solaris by month. This ritual is called the Moon Ritual of Saline, and it reads as follows. Due at high noon. Set soul torches around on all iron blocks on north, south, east, and west of temple. Break glass panes on glowstone. Go east, north, west, south. Summon a chicken with eggs and place it onto the fire to Solaris. Everyone at the ritual eats the cooked chicken together and shouts, Oopa! And after this second big find, the rest of the mission sort of became a cleaning operation. It was also said while I was away that much of the sand was also cleared with the help of an admin. I wasn't really told which admin that was, but if that's you, if you're reading this, good work. I'm proud of you. You really helped out. We still went about all of the tasks of clearing all of the excess sand, but then we sort of really didn't want to let it go. We started doing a lot of reclamation with the mainly the canal. We realized that the canal goes to the capital of Gashuma, Tengasal, and so we really went around replacing all of the water that we could, making that formable river, and clearing out all of the trees, replanting grass, allowing the grass to regrow, and planting flowers. And so after all that, we transformed Gungum from just this massive mound of sand, which it was, into something that was really, really neat and tidy, a complete reclamation of what it had been in its heyday. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this story. Like I said, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, do everything. And I'll might make another one of these. I'll see. I'll repage over my notes, go through some old memoirs, see what I can't pull out of the old memory books, and make another little contraption for you here. So I'll see you next time. I'd like to give one last big old final shout out to all the volunteers that helped with the excavation of Gungum, the admins, one or more that came around and helped put on some finishing touches there, such as the filling in of the canal, which would have really been hard to do without any sort of supervision or help there, and just in general the Stoneworks community server that made this entire world and all the people living in it a possibility. It's been an absolute uh, great thing to pal around in and uh, get ward on and make civilizations and diplomacy and alliances and secret cabals in the distance. Everything all cool and great like that. And it's been real nice.